Hello boys and girls. Now in last week's exciting episode of the Lotus Diaries, I introduced you to this, my new old 1989 XLSC. Now there's going to be quite a few videos about this car coming very soon. But in that video I did mention that I was without my 400, and most of you know that I've been having some problems with that car. So I wanted to use this video to basically bring you all up to date with what's happening with the Evora, so you know what's going on with that, and also why it hasn't been in any videos of late. So I've been having a number of issues with the car. None of them have been what you would normally call a major issue. They certainly aren't the sort of issue that would have stopped you from completing a journey, but they've been growing in number, and basically it got to a point where I needed to take the car into Lotus again for them to have another batch of fixes. Now the problems that the car is having at the minute include the world famous Evora 400 Creaky seat, patent pending. Now you all know about that. In fact, I'll put a little clip in here. And you'll notice, if you're particularly eagle-eyed, that that wasn't actually my seat. That was the seat of another 400 owner, and there's a growing list of people with 400s who have the same problem with their seat as me. So I know it's not just my car, and it is becoming a fairly serious issue for Lotus. Now, Lotus and Stratton Motor Company have tried to fix the seat a few times. I was originally using Stratton Motor Company for my work, but all the work recently done to the car has been by Lotus factory direct. Now, about 2 or 3 different attempts were made to improve the seat that I already had. I was then told that actually there's been a complete redesign of the seat, and basically the only solution for my particular seat is going to be replacement. So I was told at the end of July that there should be seats available for my car and that we would have those fitted. I took the car in, it was there for 5 days straight, and the seats did not materialise. Then I had to bring the car in last week. I was told that we hope to have the new seats available. Unfortunately, they have again failed to materialise. Now, as I understand it, Italy takes the whole of August off, so we're still about a week away from September, so I really cannot foresee having this seat issue fixed for another 2 to 3 weeks, which is quite frustrating. Sorry, my neighbour thinks that I'm talking to myself. I just let them think that. Okay, so another thing Lotus are fixing for me is the switches in the centre of the car. Those also your heated seat switches, your sport race switches. Those have bugged me since day one with the car. I believe I've mentioned them before. Basically, some of the switches are not very level. I know it's a complete OCD thing, and some of you might not even think that that is a fault at all, and that, you know, I should just man up and put up with it. But I refuse. Basically, you pay £80,000, as the list price for my car is about 78 and a bit thousand pounds. I think you can expect switches to be put on straight. I think we can all agree that that's a fairly basic thing that does not require expert precision engineering to put a couple of switches on level. Now, apparently the problems were due to the way that they originally assembled that sort of switch assembly, and they have changed that now, so hopefully things should be much better. The switches in my car have been replaced. I know other people have actually had their switches replaced because the unit has failed. And I've also seen plenty of them where the switches are perfectly level, but mine wasn't, so mine has been redone. So the car also started making some fairly hideous noises on full left lock when navigating through car parks. Sounded an awful lot like breaking twigs. I did manage to capture the sound, which I'll play for you now. And that to me sounded pretty hideous. It got progressively worse. I took the car into Lotus to have that fixed once already. they told me that the issue was due to basically an excessive amount of copper slip having been applied between the wheel and the wheel hub, and basically attracted brake dust. The brake dust got in, and that's what caused the noise. Now, in my head, I have absolutely no idea how that can create such a horrible noise. If someone out there can explain it to me better, I would love you to, and I'm waiting for Lotus to explain it to me in a way that I can understand. Now, since they did that, the noise then came back, became even worse, which led me to sort of doubt whether they'd even fixed it at all. So they tell me that it is the same problem, but basically rather than it being between the wheel and the brake disc, it was actually between the hub and the brake disc. So they've had to clean the whole thing again and start again. So apparently this is an issue that they knew about with the old cars. Clearly it's something that they haven't sorted. My driver's side window had a problem I sort of noticed by accident. I could never quite work out what was going on with the window, because sometimes it would sort of make a horrible noise and other times it would sound like it wasn't shut properly. Basically the window regulator, like most cars with frameless doors, you know, when you open the door it drops a little bit. Now the regulator had gone and it wasn't dropping the correct amount. So when you rolled the window all the way down and rolled it back up, it was then leaving a gap, sort of about a 3mm gap at the top where it shouldn't have been, and that wasn't allowing it to seal properly. So my window regulator's been fixed. My HVAC, heater, ventilation, aircon control system is being, I think, completely replaced. There's been an issue which may not be Lotus's fault. It may be, it may not be. I don't believe that many, if any, parts in the HVAC system are really Lotus specific. I'm sure they steal them from somewhere else. So the fault that Lotus are having at the minute, again, there are several cars that have had this issue, is you turn the fan on. It doesn't have to be with the aircon. You just turn the fan on, and rather it blowing properly, you get kind of a Now this is actually a problem that I've had in other vehicles. My M3 has had this problem as well. That's due to a failed resistor. However, they also have some known issues with the aircon system in the early cars that they made, where basically the aircon could suddenly turn itself up full blast, and the only way to disable it was to take a fuse out. Okay, so now I come up to a few things that aren't necessarily faults, I suppose, but things that Lotus are fixing for me, I suppose you could call them, out of goodwill. Number one, the paint protection film on one side of the car is sort of water or something has got in there and has basically made it come away on a corner, and it's pretty much is impossible to clean. And unfortunately, it's sort of stained itself white, and on the yellow paintwork, it's really, really visible. It basically looks sort of very, very dirty. So they are replacing that for me. I considered taking the paint protection film off entirely because it's very, very difficult to clean it, and where it has obviously been hit by stones and things, it looks pretty bad. But of course, if you take that film off, then the paint itself is going to get pebble dashed. So for now, I'm going to leave it on and see how I get on with it. The other issue I have with the car, and this is an issue that is created by JCT600, my supplying dealer, who thus far have been pretty useless, I'm going to be honest. If they want to phone me up and tell me ways that they can not be useless, they're welcome to do so. The car was polished before I took delivery. Now bear in mind, I took delivery at 10 miles. The car was coated in swirl marks and other sorts of paint defects, which, to be honest, I kind of expect. I know a lot of people might expect the car's paint to be absolutely immaculate and perfect, but you know what? Everyone I've spoken to that cares about their paintwork knows that no dealer these days is basically capable of delivering a car to even remotely decent standards. So that just happens. Now, what did wind me up, however, was the fact that JCT have managed to smear polish over literally every single surface on my car, and the back of the 400 is covered in lots and lots of vents and things, and for the past like 3 months I have been pulling polish out of there on a weekly basis. And I don't know if you've had the displeasure of trying to remove baked on polish from vents. It takes forever. So Lotus are passing the car through the paint shop for me, and they're going to give it another machine polish to hopefully see if they can get the paint a bit better. I've never taken the car through a hand car wash. I've only washed it myself, so I'm trying to take as good care as I can of it, but It was just winding me up having it full of polish. So Lotus, as a courtesy to me, have offered to repolish it and sort that out, which is nice of them. The car was supposed to be at Hethel from Monday to Friday of last week. Unfortunately, on Thursday, I got a phone call from them saying that while they were replacing the HVAC controls, something had broken in the car, and they basically had to start the job again. And unfortunately, because of the way that the car is assembled, it's a long and arduous task. And I do know that the guys were working late into the night and also on the weekend on my car. So I'm expecting a phone call anytime this afternoon to basically tell me that the car should hopefully be ready tomorrow, which is Tuesday, which unfortunately does bring it to 8 days in a row that Lotus will have had my car. Now, that means that if I do collect it tomorrow, Tuesday, the car will have been worked on for 20 days out of 100 that I've owned it. Given the fact that JCT are miles and miles away, they're 180 miles away from me, that's fine. But Stratton Motor Company, my nearest local official dealer, they do not offer a free of charge courtesy car. They expect me to arrange my own insurance on it. Lotus themselves do not have a press fleet or courtesy cars that they can offer to me. So basically, for 20% of the time that I've had my car or owned my car, it hasn't been in my service, which is quite frustrating. It is still the best car I have ever driven. It is absolutely brilliant, and make no mistake, it's superb. But I am having my patience tested, let's say that, with regards to how much I can bear. Now again, a lot of you are going to come and say, yeah, well, there's other manufacturers and their cars have caught fire, or they've broken down on the side of the road. And yep, totally, I get that. I've got no confidence in, I've got no fear that my car will break down in a sort of spectacular way. I think it will be absolutely fine. But to be honest, when you're not getting a replacement car while it's being worked on, it almost doesn't matter, whether it's the aircon's broken or the gearbox is broken. If it's being worked on, it's being worked on. If it's out of my service, it's out of my service. So yeah, there's that. I would love to say that I'm the only person with this car having issues. I'm not. My car was an early one. It was one of the sort of first probably 50 to 100 that they built, and that may be the source of some of my problems. But I know other people that have got much more recent cars who are also having the same issue. The seat in particular is an issue, but I hope to be able to tell you in the next sort of fortnight that there is a definite fix for that. Now, a few people have asked me a couple of questions quite frequently about the car, and I have somehow got out of answering those, so I just wanted to answer those really, really quickly, and then we'll be done. So people ask me if Stratton and other dealers are much, much closer to me than JCT, why did I buy it from JCT? Simple answer really, I didn't want to wait for a factory build car, and I couldn't afford to buy a factory build car. There isn't a lot of discount on new builds basically. And I was in business, I was on business in Leeds, and JCT was about 5 miles down the road, and I wanted to see what cars they had in stock, and I went down there and I saw my car, and they had it at a good price, and that was it. So I'd hoped, it being a new car, that I wouldn't have any problems with it. So that was why. Can you use it as a daily driver? Yes, absolutely you can. If you could use a 911 or an R8 as a daily driver, then you could use the Evora as one. Now I say 911 because it's got 2 tiny seats in the back. I wouldn't, if you're carting 4 people around on a regular basis, get something else, seriously. But if it's just 2 of you, or 2 plus kids in car seats, a little bit of shopping, that kind of thing, actually, yeah, super practical. Most of the guys I know have car seats in them, or young children. It's very, very easy. Certainly for 3 people, adult, 2 children, great car. Yeah, really, really easy. And I say the R8, it's got more space, more storage than an R8, but it's got quite a long front overhang. So there are a few places I haven't scraped the front of the car. I haven't smashed the splitter on anything yet, but I am quite conscious of it in a way that I'm not in, say, my M3. So there's that to bear in mind. There's a guy I know that was going to buy one in San Francisco, and honestly, I'm not sure I'd drive one through San Francisco, really. So the other question people ask me is, how much attention does it get? Shit, loads. It's unreal. It's like, you know, riding Zeus's own chariot through towns. It's phenomenal. Now, granted, mine is in a not subtle shade at all, and I usually have the exhaust valve open, but yeah, people love it. The comments are, yeah, always really positive. It's a great car, starts lots of conversations with people, and I've spoken to people of all ages, you know, from like 8 to 80, and yeah, the love for the car is amazing. Yeah, a lot of them don't even realise it's a Lotus, gets mistaken for a Lamborghini quite a lot, hasn't been mistaken for a Ferrari yet, that's probably because it's not red, but yeah, very, very positive. So overall, I'm really looking forward to getting the thing back because it kills me not having it. I really, really, really hope that Lotus can get the car sorted soon. The car's been released in America now, and you'll see from the press release there that the reception that it's been getting is fantastic, and I think well deserved. So yeah, it's got a lot of teething problems. They're taking longer than I would really like to sort out. Lotus are trying their damnedest, and I have to say thank you in particular to Neil, who's Lotus's warranty guy, who has really, really gone above and beyond with me and puts up with my constant emails and phone calls and things, and really does a huge amount for me. Without that, I would yeah, be a lot more upset than I am. And that's one thing I should really say with Lotus. You know, a lot of people talk about Lotus as being a very small manufacturer, and they are tiny, but it is quite nice having had cars from big German makes, you know, having to go to a dealer, and then if you want to do something on warranty, they then have to go to their regional manager, and then it goes off to corporate, and it might have to go to HQ back in Germany and all this stuff. Whereas if there's a problem with the Evora, I phone Neil. And that is actually, in some ways, I know it's not maybe as easy to get stuff done, and there isn't the resources that they would have with being a huge OEM, but it is quite nice in a lot of ways, and it gives you a bit of a connection to the place and to the people. So I appreciate that. So I apologise once again for another talkie update. I hope you're enjoying the car show videos that I'm doing. Obviously, there's going to be a lot more on this fellow. Today I am restoring the leather. Well, restore is a bit of a strong word. I'm spraying some Gliptone on it. And yeah, so that's it with the Evora news, I suppose. Thank you for your patience, and I will speak to you guys all soon.